Welcome to the Edinburgh Fringe, but be very quiet. We're hunting mimes. Yes, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Welcome from Edinburgh, wherever you are. This is the largest arts festival in the world calling. And I hope you can hear me. Ewan Spence here, once more diving into just one of the many thousands of shows that are taking place in Edinburgh this August 2025. There is so much to choose from. Even if I had 21 years of shows, I couldn't even begin to cover it, but we can give you the best idea here in, yes, our 21st year. There was a reason for going with that line there as well. Yes, because one of the delights of the Fringe is finding something that's just a single step to the side of your average show, because it's in those little side streets that you find something spectacular. Now, they may stay on those side streets. There's one act that I always remember that just finished every line with, "and my cat." Did not break into international stardom. But then there were other times in side streets you found a mad Australian doing a choose-your-own-adventure game with a torch underneath his chin. And John Robertson has went on to international acclaim, even if he has a bit of a loose lip sometimes. Loyd is one of those side streets that I've found in 2025. He's brought the show Frenzy to the Fringe, a delightful and engaging mix of comedy, physical theatre, and mime. It's also his first full hour at the Edinburgh Fringe, so I took the chance to sit down with him to talk about bringing a debut show up to Edinburgh, his expectations of this month, and what to find in the Fringe, and how you discover that your forte is not necessarily stand-up, but physicality and mime. Joining me now in the studio, well, in my studio and his studio, we're doing it remotely as we do with our early interviews. Loyd, welcome to the show, Kit.
Hello, very good to be here.
Indeed, yes. In our little studios, getting ready for Edinburgh. You probably listen to this by the time we're all at Edinburgh. But just before you make the journey north of the border, how are you feeling about it all?
Yeah, I'm really excited actually. I've got a real it's a mixture of mad excitement and dread as well. There's a bit of dread there. There's a bit of nerves. I mean, I've been up to Edinburgh. This is my fourth year performing. It's my debut hour, but it's my fourth year doing Fringe, so I kind of know what to expect, which I'm quite pleased about, because I remember the first year I went up, I did like a one-man play. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. And yeah, I just remember like walking across North Bridge. I had all my props and I just saw like all of these, other performers. And I just thought, like, what am I doing? I had like such a feeling of dread, because nobody knew who I was. I didn't have any reviews behind me, nothing. And I think I didn't really fully understand what I was getting myself in for that first year, but I do kind of have a bit of a feeling, a bit of an understanding now, which will help, hopefully.
What are your Edinburgh experiences that you take away from those previous times up here?
Yeah, I love it. I really do. It's a really unique, special experience, and like some of my best memories have happened at Edinburgh, because it is quite a mad thing that you're doing, and like a lot of stuff goes wrong, but then that usually makes like the best stories. I think that it is hard, like it's definitely hard to do the whole month. I think particularly when you're starting out, because nobody knows who you are, so just trying to get tickets and sell tickets is tricky. And I remember like the first year, just spending a lot of time flyering. I think I walked like 40,000 steps one day just trying to vlog my show. Um, but then it's also it's like it's an incredible thing, and I do absolutely love it. I used to come up to Edinburgh every year just to watch things as well when I was younger, and it was just my favorite thing to do. I loved it so much. And my wife and I actually went out. Well, this was like a couple of years ago. When I wasn't performing, and she was expecting to, she went to Edinburgh University, and she was expecting to like go back to all her old restaurants and all the old bars and things. And I was like, nope, we're not. We ended up seeing like 5, 6 shows a day. Um, so I like, it's brilliant. It's brilliant, and it's a mad, crazy experience. Um, I remember doing a gig in like a bagel shop once, and there was literally like a guy walking through. They told us beforehand, they were like, "Oh, by the way, you might have someone coming through with a tray of bagels during your set." And I remember like midway through my bit, and there was just a guy walk through with some bagels. And but that's it, that's Edinburgh, that's the Fringe, and it's a brilliant thing. Yeah.
You've got a really wide CV. There's stand-up in there, there's theatres in there, there's performance in there. How did you decide what to bring this year?
Yeah, that's it. I think I very much use like my sort of theatre background and my acting background really in my show. My show is probably it's like almost it's theatrical comedy really. It's not like out and out stand up, definitely not stand up. It's one man sketch. It's got it's got so many different elements. I try and throw as much at it, and hope something sticks. Really, I mean, it's got singing, it's got dancing, movement, acting, a lot of physical stuff in there as well, some mime. Um, so yeah, I very much use like my theatrical background in the show. Um, Me and my director have quite a similar taste in comedy, and we kind of love comedy that, at one moment you're finding something really ridiculous and silly, and the next moment you're thinking, oh wow, that's actually pretty impressive. And it's like that balance of it needs all the elements of having like really good sound, really good lighting and everything. So we've been working with like a sound designer, lighting designer, to just try and make it look really cool and impressive. So yeah, I think I've probably just taken a bit of everything that I enjoy performing and just put it into a show.
And this show is Frenzy. Give us an idea of what to expect when we go in.
Yeah, so it's a one-man solo sketch show with lots of characters, lots of fun sketches, a lot of physical comedy, a bit of miming in there. I realized that I just found things funnier with using my body than words a lot of the time. So I got quite into my mime. I did some stuff with a fantastic mime comedian called Trygve Wakenshaw. I went out to Prague to work with him to devise, the show, which was really, really helpful and amazing. And he's put a real stamp on the show. So there's some physical stuff in there, some mime. But essentially it's a one-man sketch show. It sort of touches on my sobriety. I'm down 2 years sober, so that's sort of like the thank you. That's a sort of that's a bit of an overarching theme throughout, and it kind of also touches a little bit on raving as well. And like raving used to be a big part of my life, and since being sober, I actually haven't done it once, and I guess I kind of reflect on that and talk about how I sort of do miss that side of me, and how I would like to get back raving at some point.
Well, we could put some headphones on and you could do silent rave through the streets of Edinburgh.
Absolutely. Yeah, I could do that. With those guys.
That's silent disco. I don't think we've had silent rave. Maybe they could do an evening show.
Yeah.
There's one for 2026 for you.
That's kicking off.
Obviously, we're talking about mime physically, not mime
Hmm.
as in taking popular tunes from the charts, or in your case, mime rave. Would mime rave
Hmm.
work?
Yeah, absolutely. Do some mime rave. I think I probably do mime rave in the show. Not gonna lie. I mean, there's a lot of weird mime. Um, but mime physically. To be honest, I wouldn't say it's necessarily like spot on, like traditional. It's not traditional mime, and I think Trigby very much says that he's not a traditional mime either. It's kind of just, I guess, it's more silent comedy. I'm not dressing up in white and black and pretending I'm in a box or anything like that. I'm not, and I don't even really do, much of the mime tricks, like some of like the box or like the, pretending you've got a heavy umbrella or anything like that. But it's sort of, I guess, it's just silent comedy really, and silent sketches. And I use also a lot of pre-recorded material, which and pre-recorded sounds and tech, which I then sort of react off. So it's quite a tech-heavy show, and I've got a good friend of mine, Lucas, who's doing my tech. He's actually also a comedian, so he's got like a good comic timing, or whatever. And I react off these pre-recorded bits. So it does take a bit of editing and sort of pre-work in that respect.
But I suppose with a live tech, you're
Hmm.
not straitjacketed. Like if you had the tape that ran for an hour, you'd have to lock yourself in. You've got the opportunity then to improvise.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's still room within the show to play around and to be in the moment. And it's not completely, you're not completely restricted. But you also do need to hit certain beats. And it's interesting because it's quite a wild show. Like it's quite mad at times, but most of the madness is actually pretty tightly choreographed, and it is quite it's quite organized, and actually all laid out, even though it could seem quite wild and frantic, which it is. There's a method to the madness.
You said earlier it's not stand up, but it sounds to me
Mm.
that this is closer to dance.
Yeah, I think there's definitely, yeah. I mean, I do like a little bit of dancing in it. It's sort of, in a way, it kind of is. It's sort of a movement piece, I suppose. But then I do break it up with talk. I had this original idea. I actually came up to Edinburgh last year to do like a week-long work in progress, just trying out some ideas. I was in the Mash House, and I originally wanted to do it all silent, no, none of me talking on stage. Um, and then I soon found out that that was actually really hard. And I sort of would feel I'd finish a bit or finish a sketch, and all I'd want to do is just like reconnect with the audience and speak to the audience, but I couldn't do that, and I found that a bit frustrating. So I then scrapped that idea, and I do now speak to the audience, and that's another way where I can use my acting as well. So I play characters as well, like talking characters, but it is definitely not stand up. I've tried doing stand up. When I did, when I first started doing comedy, I tried doing stand up, and I was really bad. I couldn't do, like, I couldn't tell just jokes. It just didn't come naturally to me. So I wanted to be able to use, because I went to drama school, studied acting and everything. I wanted to be able to try and use that in comedy. And there were certain people that I saw up at the Fringe who were like very inspiring. Someone like Steve Moskopoulos, who does one man sketch. And then these guys, a Good Bear, who were a great sketch duo, who my director um, directed. They got nominated for the Edinburgh Award in 2019. But that I saw them do, they were just really good actors, and often like their comedy would just their sketches would just be really just well acted, and that was almost funny in itself because it would be these mad situations just played very straight and very believable, and I then started to think, oh, maybe I can use my acting in comedy, and it doesn't necessarily have to be stand up. I think until then, until going to the Fringe, I'd only ever really seen comedy as stand up. But then, going up to Edinburgh and just seeing the wide variety that's on show, you realise that there's so many different ways into comedy, and so many different things can be funny. And yeah, I guess like the more original now, the better in some ways. And like my comedy is pretty different to the norm, I'd say. It isn't stand up. It's got a lot of different elements to it, which I love. Um, so yeah, hopefully it finds a place up this year.
Cliche question coming in now. Did you need that failure at stand-up to find the success you have now?
Yeah, definitely. I think you need to. It is cliche, but it is true. Like you do need to fail. Like, um, yeah, 100%. Because I went into it thinking like maybe I want to be like really regular stand-up. Maybe I want to do like one-liners like Jimmy Carr. Maybe and like I wrote like a whole bunch of one-liners, and I went over to do a stand-up gig in it was in Hammersmith in London, and there must have been like 5 people in the audience, and one of them was my girlfriend, who's now my wife, and I went to tell a joke, and she'd heard it before, and she knew what was coming, and she put her head in her hands because she knew how bad the joke was. And I was just thinking, like, you're literally there, like you're one of 5 audience members. You can't be doing this. But then, then I quickly realized that maybe that wasn't for me. And then I tried doing, more storytelling and that sort of stand up again. That didn't really work out. And then, then then I started introducing some more physical stuff, and that starts to work, and you just you do have to fail to realize what works for you. And even doing, this show, for example, we've done a lot of previews now, and we really workshopped it. I've been working on it for about 2 years now, and I've done some shows which is really, very early on, which did not work. Going up to Edinburgh last year, there was actually a bit, one day where it just wasn't working, and this is when I was trying to do it all silently, and the audience weren't responding, and I think I remember like stopping, and well, I didn't stop, but it was like 10 minutes after the show, and I went to introduce like the last sketch, and I was like, I actually said, if you're not enjoying it, you could always just leave. That's fine. And my director he was in the audience. He was pretty unhappy about that. But, I then came away from that show being like, realizing that it wasn't working and something needed to change. And like often you think you've got a nailed on idea, and then you perform it and it doesn't land. And it is only from what I'm really realizing now. It's only from performing in front of an audience when you realize if something works or not. So you do 100% have to fail. Yeah.
So you've had a couple of work in progresses on Frenzy. Now it comes to Edinburgh. Now it's right into the Crucible. Where can people come and see it?
We're on at Assembly Roxy downstairs, 8:20 p.m.
And that is right through until the end of the Fringe on the 24th. As always, we will have a link back on our website straight into the Edinburgh Fringe box office, so you can get your tickets all sorted there. It's edinburghfringe.thepodcastcorner.com. Kate, where should people go to find out more about you online?
You can find out more about me on Instagram. My name is Kit Loyd, KITLOYD. And then there's various links on there that will take you to recordings of me or clips of me. So yeah, that's probably the best place. I'm not massively active on X or Twitter. But yeah, Instagram's probably best.
And we'll have a link back there as well. Kate, thanks very much for your time.
Enjoy
all of the days in the shows that you have left at Edinburgh. And yeah, it's sunny as we record this. It's not going to stay sunny. Not for all of August.
Yeah, no.
Sorry about that.
I'm bringing the Mac. I've got the Mac.
Edinburgh, where the Mac is back every single year. Kit, thanks very much.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Kit Loyd there, talking about his show Frenzies on at Assembly Roxy, 7 p.m, and runs right through until August the 24th. Tickets are available on the Edinburgh Fringe website, but just to make it a little bit easier for you, as always, the link direct to the Kit's page and the box office is at our website, edinburghfringe.thepodcastcorner.com. You'll find more from Kit on his Instagram. We'll link back from our site there as well. So do pop in there, listen to all the other podcasts, and if you get a chance on the podcast app that you're listening to the show on right now, if you can do the links, the likes, the loves, the shares, the subscribes, the reviews, the stars, please put them in. Like everybody at the Fringe, we love to get reviews. It helps people find us and it allows us to promote our endeavours throughout the other 11 months of the year. But if all you're doing is enjoying listening, I thank you very much for your time. Be back here tomorrow. We'll have some more Fringe for you to enjoy. If you're in Edinburgh, perhaps to see. If you're outside of Edinburgh, hoping it goes on tour. However you're listening, wherever you are, thank you. I'll catch you tomorrow. Ta-ra for now. Been listening to the Edinburgh Fringe Show, hosted by Ewan Spence, produced by the Podcast Corner for Spence Media and Radio 6 International. Listen to more from the Fringe at edinburghfringe.thepodcastcorner.com.